car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Revell, and today I'm just going through some miscellaneous projects that I've had sitting around and haven't decided what I'm going to start working on next. But I was just going through a couple of different ones, and here's one I've had for a while now, and it's kind of funny. I haven't actually built one of these, even though now I've got a few of the kits, but since Revell had reissued the kit, and in both, it's a 2-in-1 now with both the GNX parts and the regular Grand National parts. This is an '87 Buick Grand National, but this is actually the older box right here. This one's copyright dated 1998, but I did pick it up as kind of a built kit or started kit project. Yeah, I think it was a swap meet find. It was at a decent price, so I grabbed it and like, all right, I can use it for parts or build it. But I glanced through it and it looked like everything was there to build it. But so it's kind of funny. It's got extra parts. Like I got a couple of hoods here, almost 2 sets of glass. So I think there is enough glass for 2. But 2 engines. Here's a second engine that was built, and it had these wheels on it, which is funny. These are the rear ones, and then it had these front ones, and it was jacked up. So the suspension was modified. I don't think I have the front suspension piece anymore. Here's the rear axle that was with the kit, and it had stronger springs, and they put metal pins in there for the wheels to mount on, and they did the same to the front. But so it was modified, and I'm like, I'm going to build it stock Grand National, but all the parts were there. Now, the guy had also glued all the front stuff to the body and all the rear stuff, so the body was assembled. And one thing I didn't notice right away was he had the previous builder had cut out the firewall. I don't know if they were going to swap in a bigger motor or what the plan was, but it had cut a chunk of the firewall out. And after noticing that, I just sort of tossed it in the box, and I was like, all right, I need to get a few parts, but now the body's damaged, and that was kind of the main thing. I was like, all right, cool, the body's all there. But then I eventually decided, you know what? I made a pattern, cut a piece, glued it in, and then I eventually puttied it and sanded it. So now it's pretty much ready for a layer of primer to see where I'm at on the firewall. And I mocked it up to make sure the engine clears the tunnel. And I used the other body to get an idea from the newer kit that's molded in white where the tunnel would be. So I used that as a pattern as well. So that's what I got the body kind of rolling on this one. And then it still ended up sitting for a little bit. Now I did start, gluing the motor together, strip the chrome off of the transpan. There's a lot of chrome pieces on this, so I stripped all those. And then I did do some bartering and trading, so I got the kit suspension parts from another kit from trading from somebody online, just asking for help. And seems that there's usually somebody that might have a kit, especially if it's a common kit like this one. Well, not really common, but it's been reissued a few times now, so finding it isn't too difficult. Which is funny for me, the GNX kit, the original kit from 1988, I remember when that kit came out, or shortly after, a friend of mine had one and built one, and I always wanted it, and I couldn't find it. And of course by 1990, it was already sold out and it wasn't in production anymore. And it would be many years before that kit would be re-released. So it's funny, I got back into the hobby, got back into eBay, and started watching older kits. And I did eventually pick one of them up and unbuilt one of that High Performance Series monogram kit. This is a 1/24 scale kit. And I ended up getting one. I was like, yes, I finally got one of those GNXs. And then it was somewhat shortly after that I ended up picking up this kit. So then I had the 2 to build, a regular Grand National and a GNX. And wouldn't you know it, a few years later, Revell would actually reissue the GNX kit. I was like, all right. And then now they just re-released it again, but with all the parts to build both versions. So you can build either one in one box now, which is pretty cool. Another thing I did was sanded off the monogram logo that was on the gas tank, so that's sanded. And this one will be a quick build. There's really not much to it, especially since everything is black, so there's not a whole lot of detailing to it. There's some sections that are flat black or semi-gloss black, and there's a lot of sections that are gloss black, and then there's a lot of interior that's gray and black. So if you know this car, the interior gets a lot more attention as far as detailing goes. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. It'll be a quick build for me, so this one will go together pretty quickly, but I'm just kind of showing you what I got, how I got it, and where I'm at, because this is not really a stalled project. It's one I bought that started, and it's been sitting. So I figure I start a thread on it just for a little bit of fun, and I'm going to do a couple other threads too of restoration candidates. I'll show you some of my other kits that ready for restoration or started, and see what you guys think of those. So this kind of interesting, but this one I think I get some primer on that firewall, get a lot of the stuff painted the semi-gloss black and the gray interior, and the rest of the parts black. So this one will be a pretty quick build, but so stay tuned on this one, and we'll see you update it, and I'll get some paint on it, and I'll show you some status on it. So stay tuned.
It's one Lego.
It's one of the ones I'm building. It's been sitting for a long time, so I pulled it out.
Oh.
So what are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Wait, what is this?
Well, here's an update on my 87 Grand National project. Like the earlier part of the video said, this was probably going to be a quick build. When you got a vehicle that's got very few colors like this one, kind of makes it an easy build. Plus, so I went out and shot a semi-gloss black primer over the body, and after doing some of the sanding of the mold lines on this, so I sanded the mold lines and got it primed in semi-gloss black and getting it all ready to paint it black. Here's how the firewall came out. You can kind of still see some of the putty, but considering it's behind the engine, you really can't. So once it's all in there, being such a small motor, and so the hood's fitted. I still got to sand on this spray job, but I drilled the holes for the mirrors, so the mirrors are now pinned. Matter of fact, here's the mirrors right here. So they're pinned and they're ready. I just need a little bit of sanding, and I'll get another layer of black on the body and on that, and then get it cleared. Started on the interior tub, checking my references. I forgot I need to see exactly where the black is and if this shelf here is actually black on it or not. Couldn't remember. I know the pattern is gray and the rest of the seat is black, and the door panels and our sides are gray. So got to do those, and I started shooting this. It's a little too glossy, so I might hit it with some dull coat when I'm done. Got some aluminum in there because it's kind of a satin silver color that I've seen on their cars. And getting the dash started here, same thing, a little bit of aluminum right here, and then gray, and there'll be a piece of chrome and some more aluminum. So there's multiple colors on the dash and interior. Really liking how the steering wheel came out. So the steering wheel is shot in a gray, and the aluminum spokes, they're not chrome, they're actually kind of a satin silver. So, and then the regular Grand National cluster, got that basically started, just the two colors for now. But and the steering column, which actually has a tilt lever, and the wiper switch with the big box on the side, which is how these actually were. They look kind of funny, but that's correct in the shifter handle. And the door panels are almost done. I still have to hit the actual chrome parts with the Motolo pen, but the aluminum and then the blackouts, and it's looking pretty good. And then the wheels and tires, those are just black and put on, and I'm not going to paint the white letters on it. I'm getting the detailed chrome on the wheels, the blackout, kind of a pain on this one because they're pretty deep and hard to get in there. And then last is the engine and chassis. Like I said, this is pretty much flat black, gloss black, and aluminum and steel as far as paint. Oh, and the oil filter is blue. This one actually has an oil filter, but I painted it blue, which is the current color of AC Delco's oil filters. Yeah, I got steel on the exhaust, a little bit of aluminum spray paint. I spray painted the exhaust aluminum, and I just picked out some of the steering linkages in black and this and that. The turbo piece is intercooler is gloss black for the most part, so that's in there as gloss black, but it's just floating in there. And then I took the chrome off of the alternator and the air cleaner. I left it on the valve covers, but I painted them aluminum and just wiped the fins, so the fins are still chrome. But that's about it on those. And then the tranny, which this one's a 200 R4, so that 3.8 turbocharged V6 is almost smaller than the tranny. And then picked that out in aluminum also. But that's all glued together, just real simple build. Going together fairly fast and fairly well. But I got half the interior due, then a little bit more body work and gloss black paint. And then this one will be fairly quick build and done fairly quick. So I figured I would just show you where I'm at the moment and let it go from there. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing and hitting that bell button and sharing any of my videos with all your friends. And thank you for tuning in. And you guys, you have a wonderful day.